Well, hello everyone. House of Prozaroff, Seventh Generation Technologies LLC. A little bit of jazz in the background. It's 12/14/2024, and I can't believe the hype. Coming with you at Public Enemy. Remember that? I can't believe the hype. But anyhow, the banks have a whole bunch of hype, don't they? I mean, the banks and the credit card companies are de facto running the game without any challenge. The deregulation, it's wonderful. You hear about deregulation, what deregulation might be, and you don't hear a whole lot about the banks and the credit cards. And if you're an American like me, although you're enthusiastic that Trump won, even if you didn't vote for him, as I stay away from politicians, but you hope for the best. Trump has been inspiring. He's been an inspiring businessman. There's some things I don't like about him, just like any politician. I mean, I kind of liked Obama. I liked what Obama did with the Consumer Financial Protection Board. That was a good thing. That gave poor people a chance. You could fight things. And let me give you a message here. Here's a message that maybe liberals aren't handing out. You have to be very careful how you approach the rich people, because if you make them mad by trying to fight them, they may make a whole bunch of laws that totally go against you because you pissed them off and treated them like crap. Treating Donald Trump the way he was treated by the libs was a disgrace. You cannot treat human beings like that. They will hate your guts forever. They will. They hate you. Um, Many of the liberals are hated because many of there was a time where being poor could benefit you, and you came from a poor area and you oftentimes would be a better athlete. Now, 30 years later, the world has kind of changed. The rich people know how to get their kids the nutrition and the exercise. And I watched inner city sports teams that were the best end up over 15, 20, 25, 30 years. Slowly, the suburbs would get the better football teams and sports teams. So the advantage, don't flaunt your advantage. Don't beat down people, poor people. If you do get help, don't start acting like an asshole because somebody helped you. Don't rip off and steal from people. Don't shoplift. Don't do shit like that, especially if you don't need to do it to survive. I mean, if you got to eat, you got to do whatever you got to do. I get that. You got to eat, right? But I'm talking about stealing stuff out of Walmart and stuff and thinking you're not part of the problem. You're part of the problem. You don't steal. Get down to the basic 10 commandments. Forget religion. They're just 10 good rules that a society needs. Has nothing to do with whether you think there's a God or there's no God. We got to have some rules to function together or we'll be at war with each other, right? And you see the rich people have turned the tide against the poor people. And I'm not a rich person, so I can't really celebrate that. But the libs have really taught disrespect, anger, hate, to insult people, act like if you're rich, of course you have it easier. And I've never been rich, so I can't say I can't just take the rich person's side. There's a lot of frustration, and the poor people are being perped by liberal minded individuals who kind of push a non responsible ideology, and they'll say, no, that's not what I'm doing. And you're right, there are liberals who wouldn't push that. We have to be responsible in how we speak to people. With that being said, we have a bigger problem than that. We have the banks and the credit card companies and their regulation of capital. They won't let capital flow down to you. They'll let it trickle down as if you're being, I don't know, pissed on, trickle down theory. But they won't let you just have a chunk of capital with no or low interest if you're poor. You can't do that. You're too big of a risk. And they keep adhering dogmatically to the risk model, which I don't believe in their economic theory. How come with all these economic models we got, all we have is that economic risk model? Let's listen to some jazz for a moment. We'll go back to what I'm saying. Lovely, lovely. No, how come they only have one economic risk model? If you're poor, you have to pay extremely high interest, and we can't lower your interest, and it has to be high debt. And there's all these lies in the media about you can go get national debt relief, and then they cancel your credit. Um, and it's not as cheap as you think. There's all these little commercials that make the general public think the banks have all these answers. They don't have any answers. They're hauling cash out of your pocket. um, then this does a great thing because it controls the public perception. They can say to themselves, oh, you're just being irresponsible and you don't know how to spend your money. Yeah, you've been charging them 25, 30, 35% interest. You will not lower it no matter what. You could call up the credit card companies. They'll have no extra plan to lower your interest from 28% to 12. They won't do it. You have to already be rich for them to do something like that. And the banks are behind that, and they are making tons and tons of money. If you can buy stock, you would want to buy Visa, Discover, and MasterCard. I totally believe that. But we got to have a new system. We have to start letting money go into the hands of people that have never had it, because we need consumers. If we don't have consumers, we have shoplifters. Think about it. The people that are shoplifting, actually, in some ways, they have to work kind of hard. I don't support what they do. I've never done that. If they steal iPods from Walmart or they steal products from Walmart, now they got to go work to sell those on the black market or on eBay where they can readily get caught doing it. I wouldn't recommend doing that. So stealing isn't always lazy. Sometimes it's a lack of opportunity. See my last talk about barriers to entry are everywhere. But the banks are the problem. The idea we believe, oh my God, if people get money, inflation's going to go through the roof. That's what happened last time. But there's a component of greed inflation. We know that, and we also know that keeping gas prices high was very harmful. And some people have a dogmatic model of the economic world, and they say, well, I know if I put one and one together, it's two, and they think they're a genius, and they're going to start lecturing me. Please stop. No, I'm not going to listen to your lecture. I'm not lecturing you here either. I'm telling you, you have to let poor people get money. Not even just poor people who don't work. There's a lot of people that work hard that are paying 28 to 30 some percent interest and they hold 3 jobs. The credit card companies are not really being looked at. The media, why would the media think about this? If you're waiting for MSNBC and Fox and any of these other people to go after the credit card companies and the banks, you're on crack cocaine, buddy. Let me explain. Those are some of their biggest sponsors. And you're not going to go after your sponsor's pocketbook. You're not going to do that. No, you're going to go after Donald Trump because Donald Trump is safe. You can go after Donald Trump. In fact, it will help him, and it has helped him in this last election in 2024. He won it. The liberals just played right into a strategic hand. And let's be honest, Kamala Harris didn't lose by that much. So, but she did lose, unfortunately. And for those who did support her, I have no idea who's the best person for the job. Maybe Donald Trump. He may very well be. He is a tough character and he knows a lot about business. But I know one thing, the banks and the regulation of capital is a problem. We cannot continue the same system that we have, or we'll get no change. And we'll drive the poor people into the ground. Many people have died in debt. Okay. You're not going to hear that story on MSNBC or Fox. Maybe a little bit about the homeless and that. But the fate of the homeless is sometimes never a recovery because there's no money. There's no new housing that fits them. There's no new clean slate. There's no clean slate. And that's exactly what the over-competitive US marketplace does. People at the top, once they get that top position, they're going to hold it forever. And you're not told this. You're told that let's be fair, let's be equal, let's do all that. And none of these really rich people really act that way at all. They get the advantage in monetary terms and they hold it. They get low interest forever. You get high interest forever. They get the property so they can keep getting more property. You'll be lucky to even have a house or an apartment. We're not changing that. We're doing the same thing. And this is a very ugly situation. House of Prozaroff cannot answer this situation. I know it's time to go after the banks or the credit card companies. I don't know if the libs or the progressives or just the American population would have any idea about how they could do that. Most people are going to end up sticking up for the bully. We do a lot of sticking up for the bully. And I'm going to end that here. And we hear some jazz in the background. This is House of Prozaroff. Thank you for tuning in. Like my station, subscribe to my station, and like my post, and see you again. Thank you.